We're live for another episode of, in this case, I think it'd be Dice Scum Live rather than lore rambling because we already kind of covered the lore in this one. Hello there, everyone. The name's Adam.
And I'm ImpCit.
And today we're covering even more of Rifts. You know, the book that made me come up with actually making a modest proposal a real thing in the setting rather than as a shitpost made by an 18th century writer. And other horrendous things.
Forget what was it that you made up again?
Um, see, here's the thing. In most modern cases, whenever you do post-apocalyptic England, they have a bad habit of just kind of always leaning to King Arthur. Which, don't get me wrong, the Camelot legend's really powerful and all that, but come on. There's all sorts of horrible histories that you can look at, like Lord Oliver Cromwell, the Second
Yeah,
Commonwealth. Come on.
yeah, but do any of those involve wizards?
They involve an army of witch hunters that are specialized in killing them, I think.
Actually, no, that makes sense in this setting.
So, with that in mind, hello there, Jim. I know you kind of came in here a bit early with a bunch of things for Rifts. Apparently, Atlantis doesn't just do slavery. Yeah, it does human interdimensional trafficking. I remember that. And hello there, Dark Sun. Was Rifts good, bad? In my opinion, it is what Chult wants to be. This is what Derek originally. This is basically Derek trying to make Rifts, and he fucked up and made Chult. So, with that in mind, let us go into the next character because, again, this book is fucked. It opens up with lore and then character. It doesn't actually go into, what was it, the basics until
Yeah,
near the end. So, let's get into it. Robot pilot. He is a robot. He is a pilot, but
well,
he's not a
actually,
robot pilot.
you could either be a giant robot pilot or a guy in power armor.
This is where you
It's
get your
either.
this is where you get your enclave thing, if I remember right.
Yeah, basically, I think it's either, yeah, like power armor, Fallout, Warhammer style, though a little bit bigger, I believe, and then mech warrior.
Also, do you mind if you distract them by going over the robot pilot? Something's come up. I'll be right back.
All right, so, well, as it says here, most robot pilots have nerves of steel, can remain calm even under fire, generally brave, strong, reliable soldiers in and outside their robotic alter egos. Most pride themselves on their cool heads, ability to think on their feet, and skill with giant war machines. Master puppeteers controlling high-tech exoskeletons, um, which is just the power armor. And it says either giant robots and tanks, which if they say at the beginning, if it's power armor or giant robots, shouldn't they also have included the tank portion? Uh, Nevertheless, they like the role of guardian or protector and take part of that job very seriously, often sacrificing their robot or armor to hold off an advancing enemy at bay. In and out of their armor, robot pilots are highly competitive and hate to lose. When defeat is handed to them, they can hardly wait for a rematch. So again, your generic stereotype pilot, power armored guy, uh, mostly in company of mercenary squads, usually gun for hire. Uh, as you can see there, the like Mandalorian power armor. This is what the head looks like. Seems to be an example of power armor. Uh, and say below it, uh, that character who is chosen wearing a suit of power armor as his means of augmentation and survival in Rift's Earth. Power armor may be thought of as a suit of armor, only this is made of mega damage materials powered by a fusion power supply and is the product of advanced technology. So actually, no, in this case, it's literally Fallout. Those are built-in weapons and enhancement of array of optical enhancement, sensors, features, space age technology. So it's apparently made for either space or deep sea exploration, and so they're environmentally sealed suits with air purification systems, internal cooling, heating, and life support, an independent supply of oxygen, and basically, again, power armor. A soldier is in or deserted from the coalition states, their power armor is not available. Kind of odd that they put the availability of the different kinds of power armor right after, but I guess it's to explain the different types. Same thing for Free Quebec. The power armor pilot may operate any suit other than the Glitter Boy or Collision Ordnance. These include, uh, I guess, a whole bunch of other power armors because I have no idea what they are. As they say in the source books, Source Book 1, Mercenaries, Mercops, New West, Marine Wave 2, Trix, and the NGR. Most power armor pilots regard the Glitter Boys to be antiquated and limited in their scope. I'd say that, except for the fact that they have the big fuck off gun. They prefer what they consider to be modern, versatile suits from Northern Gun, Tri-X, Naruni Enterprises, among others. Furthermore, most work to acquire three or more types of power armor and use the most work to acquire three or more types of power armor and use them interchangeably dependent on their needs. So it seems that in this case, the pilot can easily access different kinds of power armor to suit their needs, which I guess can help, although I don't know how they'd be able to access it that well, being that if they're on a mission far away from their base, how are they going to swap out? Um, and it actually says, in fact, that when they're accustomed to new power armor types, that they actually have penalties when using Glitter Boy. However, they apparently can use the Glitter Boy as a power armor, which is at least interesting. But then again, why have the different character class for the Glitter Boy? Uh, and as to wait for Adam, going over the skills, they know advanced mathematics, they either know basic mechanics or acrobatics, navigation, piloting. Uh, they know how to pilot a jet fighter as well, and they either have an NG Samson and one other power armor if their choice to start. Any model sold in the open market that is common in North America is acceptable. Maybe an air or ground model, probably a Northern Gun Titan or Chipwell suit. What is that? I guess other brands, but continue because I'm still busy. The after that they talk about the robot pilot. Character specializes in the operation of big bots, heavy weapons, and all-out combat, representing heavy artillery on Rift's Earth. Separate the heavy infantry robot vehicles in defensive, military, extraction labor, and rescue operations.
Do they stat out the robots? Sorry about that.
Oh.
I just came back. If you're wondering, I think talking about Chul actually gave me gastro. Just the concept of thinking about that setting was so bad, my stomach decided to mimic Johnny from Metal Gear Solid, and I was like, oh!
Uh, one question: does the power armor look like Mandalorian armor to you?
It's going for that, but because of the mono eye, I'm thinking it's a fusion. I'm thinking it's actually, if I had to guess, it's honestly, it looks more like Vile from Mega Man X. There's a bit of a mono eye with the little reflector there.
Yeah, but it's got like I guess either that or Battlestar Galactica. But
Yeah,
uh,
they look like the Cylons. They also remind me of Beakies from 40K.
yeah,
Looks a bit like the Corvus armor, actually. Even has a hand,
except for the
has
helmet.
a helm. Well, kinda, because you see a bit of the beak there. Like it's
Oh,
not
I see what you mean.
exactly, but still. I'm not
Apparently,
saying it's a copy. I'm just saying it looks similar.
the pilot, the ro power armor pilot, can also pilot a glitter boy.
That's the dude who shoves so much tat in them that they become a cyborg, yeah?
No. Glitter boy is the guy in the power armor with the BFG.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. It's just for some reason that's not ringing. The name of that class is not going to ring the bell because it is intrinsically not what I think of.
In but it's at a disadvantage.
Well,
So,
yeah, he can resist and there's an override switch, I think.
yeah. uh, but moving on to the robot pilot, they do seem to straight up be the mech warrior, as they can use a defensive, military, construction, labor, and rescue operations.
They're basically mobile infantry from Heinlein, sort of. I'm
It
not saying he's copying. I'm just saying in a similar service where they use exosuits to essentially augment their physical ability, it allows them to do all these things.
Yeah, but this is not the power armor pilot; it's the robot pilot I'm talking about.
Uh, Using robot drones to construct and do things also does. I mean, that's essentially what we do modern day with drone pilots for military services.
Except they're not on two legs.
Not yet. Not if Boston Dynamics can't finally sell its white elephant, the big dog.
Listen, if we can actually get giant mechs, I think both the United States and Japan would be very happy.
I mean, we could build them. The problem is it's just not fucking worth it, and they'd barely move.
Why not?
Power output.
I don't know why. Oh, the why not of why don't we build them?
Power output and practicality. See, why do
So,
that when you can just give a person a gun and some armor and then say, "Go on, lad."
because we can't paint it and make it sound cool.
Well, you see, why do that when you can just make an airplane that fires beer cans at 85 rounds per second?
It's not fun.
You've never seen an A-10 fire its big guns, have you?
Not in real life, but I definitely played Call of Duty enough to know that sound.
I mean, why
But
do
move
that
it.
when you can also have a F-22 just single-handedly yeet the entire army because you have air superiority? Look, I get it. Giant robots is cool, but they got to deal with things like gravity, thrust to weight, and there's a reason Big Dog is a big financial dumpster. Much like Chalt, it's a big dumpster.
Don't keep thinking about it. I don't want you to end up getting distracted again.
I hope. Oh God, yeah, you're right. I probably shouldn't think about it at all. So
Moving on.
let's look at them opening up the chupacabra,
So they know power armor robots.
the
Uh,
body
it-
fixer.
are you moving on to the body fixers then?
Well, I figured why not. I thought you kind of
All right.
covered most of the basic details for this.
Yeah, I just
Although
didn't go
there
over
are
the
related
stats
ones, which I'm not a fan of this being like interconnected, but the way this guy works is just fuck you, deal with it. So I just got to accept it.
the body fixer one.
No, it's just related to OCCs. It's just here's all the
Yeah,
other books. Like it's never gonna be a thing. It's just fuck you, deal with it. That's literally what his updates are. It's the same thing, just with errata, and that's about it.
onto the I guess the
The doc.
adventurers. Yep. Um,
There he
there's
is, cutting up in a chupacabra.
uh saying that a body fixer is just a doctor does a disservice to those brave men and women of this noble profession. It tells their story. Body fixer is slang for a medical doctor who performs medicine on anybody, human and non-human.
Which, by the
Uh,
way, there's a reason why I wouldn't trust a veterinarian to open up my heart.
well, I mean,
I would also wouldn't trust a neurosurgeon to do basic bone setting.
uh, and basically that's what makes them criminals because how dare they heal the sick that are non-human?
Yeah, aren't they just like supposed to be chattel for the slaughter?
Yeah, Um, Doctors who could not turn their backs on the sick and injured based on their race, a choice that's branded them as traitors to humanity by the coalition states.
That's the
Considered
skull face dudes that are basically Imperium Light.
the Illinois Nazis.
Illinois Nazi Party that gets run over by the Bluesmobile car. Got it.
Conservative estimates suggest DB population among sentient life forms is 34%. Most conservative is 42,
He really loves
with
the statistics.
with
I noticed that in part one. He really does love his statistic numbers.
yeah, at least does give a little bit of an estimate. It's like 34%. Okay, that
That
gives
what?
you an it gives you at least an image.
DB. I forget what D. Oh, dimensional beings.
Yeah, a-
Yeah,
aliens.
it's starting to come back to me. There's a lot of essentially conlang that you just kind of have to get familiar with and cope. See, in a
And in
normal
fact,
book, that's at the beginning where they give you a term and glossary. Meanwhile, not this man. No, you just gotta fucking sink or swim, motherfucker.
you dive right in. Apparently,
Except for the rules.
yeah, even in the Chi-Town burbs, where being caught is a death sentence for DBs, they make up 16 to 22% of the population. Which, holy shit, the police are terrible at their jobs. Then, if
Wait,
that's
one.
what they're supposed to be.
Oh, oh, interdimensional beings make it up. I thought like the body fixers made up that proportion. Since this is supposed to be the
Oh,
body fixer class.
oh. In the New West, it's about 60 to 80 because, well, most of humanity's dead. Uh, because remember, Yellowstone exploded.
Yellowstone exploded, and on top of that, I think dinosaurs came back over there.
Not, actually, yes, yes. Uh,
I don't remember everything. I just remember Here There Be Dragons being kind of what was slapped on the West Coast.
yeah, basically everything's fucked. There's a reason why most of humanity seems to be in the Midwest because it was the least fucked area of North America.
I guess he's not familiar with the New Madrid fault line
Maybe
or the
that got
Great Dust
rifted
Bowl.
away. Again, maybe it just got rifted away.
It's probably the same logic that has Argentina not being an eternal melted dumpster fire while Brazil is.
It's difficult to number the exact numbers because most DBs live in poverty. Gathering a large community invites an extermination squad. Um, so this is just more talking about DBs while you're talking about the body fixer.
Yeah, I mean, this is supposed to be about the class in a book that's a little
Mm,
more sane and a little someone willing to actually edit it and not have the creator scream at them. They'd be like, well, what are some details about body fixers you need to know? Well, body fixers are technically a doctors, but they're not quite. They're omnidisciplinary medical techs that should not be allowed to operate on you, mainly because there's so many disciplines. Meanwhile, he's like, now let's go into this side tangent about how the interdimensional aliens are treated by the neo-Nazi Party of Illinois that didn't get run over by the Bluesmobile.
yeah, it just seems to be
Very long
saying.
tangent. That's
Seems to
kind
be
of why I
explaining.
love looking at this book. It's
Yeah,
you can see why people kind of like it, but then there's like this is this is damn near a slog to get through sometimes.
it seems to be that the reason for this is because it's wanting to explain. Well, why are body fixers existing? Well, there's a lot of DBs. This is how many there are in these areas, and
I
then explaining
mean,
why do they do it.
compare to Mike Pondsmith's take on Cyberpunk, where Ripper docs were just explained casually and quickly.
Yeah,
You can
um,
justify it all you want, but this is the case of this is my way. I want to go into this big detail because I thought it up, and here's all these cool stats I came up with,
it's
and
yep.
fuck readability.
Uh,
Not pooping. I'm not pooping on the setting. People like it. I'm just pointing out that this is a reason why this book is very much like Marmite.
well, I guess moving on then to the skills of the body fixer. They're
So
apparently an
remember,
ex.
there's a 4% chance at any point you could be like myself or the great luminary Rich Evans and just completely fuck up your own native tongue. Keep that in mind.
Um, so disease diagnostic specialists, so they're expert diagnostician.
You can diagnose people dead.
You have no penalty when working with common or known DBs. Um,
So working on Chupacabra is pretty easy, but if you ever had to work on the Flatwoods monster, you might have trouble just because people don't
yeah.
maybe know what the Flatwoods monster is.
Mhm. Various skills.
Yeah, they got a lot. Include wait, did I for a minute there I thought I saw homeopathy,
Um,
which would have been pretty funny.
they know medicinal brewing. They know medical doctor, pathology.
Remember, because you can stat these guys however you want. You could have them be Doctor Science or I am literal witch doctor that used the magical drill to let the ghosts out of your skull.
Um, they cannot
Unironically,
know. They can't know boxing or wrestling.
but do they know the art of kicking people in the dick?
Yes.
Okay, we're fine. We can still play this.
Um, they have two
Rift is a
surgical.
stream of consciousness RPG. It's more like it's the vision of one man who refuses to ever edit his. It's like the undying document, if you think about it,
Um,
where it's perfect as is. Not necessarily fuck it, we did it in one take, but more in the lines of it's perfect and I ain't changing shit except for the bare minimum to reprint it.
and yeah, it just seems that they just have a lot of medical stuff. Next up
Well, yeah,
is
they're nerds.
yeah. Next up is the city rat.
Ah, the Sure People have made a return. It's been a long time since we've seen them, ever since good old Wraithathu.
No. It's just your little gutter punk.
My disappointment is immeasurable and my day is ruined.
Uh, they know little of the outside world except what they've read here on the street. Their world's the rumbling, bustling city streets. Uh, yeah, it basically is just the
It's the Aladdin character. Do you want to play Aladdin from Aladdin? Or do you want to play the Aladdin from the other Aladdin, or the one that was in the Chinese translation of Aladdin? There's a lot of Aladdins.
also many of them are computer hackers.
How,
It says
explain
they're
how your character's cyberpunk, but without actually using the term cyberpunk.
which is interesting because I
I'm
believe in the
playing around
coalition
with it,
state
but this is fine.
literacy is not known.
Don't know how to read, but I mean, honestly, have you seen how people type sometimes?
Oh yeah.
You can
Okay.
use a computer and not know how to read, let me tell you. There are like 2-year-olds that know how to use computers.
Yeah. One of their skills, they know how to run. Uh, they
Can they run for years on end, causing a mass social movement before they get tired and go home?
uh possibly because oh no, they need an IQ of 10 or higher to be at. No, there's nothing. So yeah, you could totally be. Uh, why am I missing on his name now?
Hello, my name's Forrest Gump. I'm
Yep.
from Greenbow, Alabama. Unironically, Forrest Gump as a city rat would be hilarious. That's all I have to say about that.
Um, they cannot have weapon proficiency in energy or heavy energy weapons.
I mean, yeah, come on, man. They're a street rat. They're not gonna get their hands on plasma death. They're not gonna get their hands on the Death DB Skull Cracker 5000 from the evil Illinois Nazi Party of Chicago.
Most city rats tend towards the color black and leather, chains, high boots, gloves, and sometimes a cape or cloak.
Again, tell me you're not cyber. Tell me you're cyberpunk without actually using that term.
Um,
I'm just now envisioning Forrest Gump dressed as a punk,
yeah,
and it's
actually,
cursed.
you are 100% right. They start with 1d4 plus 2 cybernetic implants.
Literally, here's your cyberpunk
It's
character.
literally cyberpunk.
And hey,
And
look,
then
it's
there's
the Ripper Doc.
the guy who actually implants them.
Yeah, Ripper Docs. I
Um,
know what a Ripper Doc is. Is there an 8-page treatise on how Ripper docs allow you to like transcend the flesh and 80% of their surgeries are successful except on specific
Uh,
specific genotypes native to the backwoods of the Appalachians?
I don't know. Here is just an interesting sentence. The cyberdoc is a cybernetic specialist who offers his illegal services on the black market, not unlike the old abortion clinics of 1950s and 60s America.
I mean, usually
That's-
that was just you got really drunk and then used a coat hanger, you know.
yeah, that interesting turn of phrase. Um,
Yeah, it has some very good energy, and by good energy I mean very fucking yikes.
yeah. He's a part mechanic, part surgeon, part medical doctor.
All cop. Also the chop shots pay fair prices for cybernetics, so I think that's another thing is they just scavenge like battlefields to find like dead robot pilots and other cyborgs.
It honestly makes a lot of sense. It's
To
just
be
like,
fair, there are parts of Rift Surf that would have witch doctors from the whole disaster. Yeah, it's the Africa setting. We don't talk about it.
honestly, probably any setting would have that. Your local hedge wizard or shaman or, I don't know, a
Is
demon?
that as cursed as Ernest from the movies of that name dressed as Spunk? Oh yeah, Ernest P. Worrell. I don't see him as a city rat. I love the idea of Ernest trying to be a cyberdoc and it just goes horribly wrong.
Ernest goes to Chi-Town.
Ernest becomes a cyberdoc, accidentally replaces his limbs wrong, so he has to walk on his feet hands.
Um,
Witch doctors in
s-
Australia? Wow, that's I mean, there's like a
yeah,
shamanistic tradition or something there, but they wouldn't be
I
witch doctors, really.
I think it's dream magic or,
Well, yeah, the Aborigines do have their own kind of tribal legends, and there's some healing and mystic. Like, there's always the sense of mystic healer aspect, but not everyone's a fucking witch doctor.
um,
Unless you want to count the witches and druids of Ireland as fucking, of Irish and English myth, like the old lady that knows how to farm garlic to cure your ails. Do you want them to be counted as a witch doctor? I mean, technically it's true.
oh,
They're a
oh, you
witch
mean the
who happens to
druids?
be a doctor.
You mean the druids?
Yeah, witch doctor.
Wh- alright. Well, I mean, that's just continuing on because it's
So that
more just,
they can install bionics, blah de blah blah
yeah.
blah. Oh look, it's
Next
the
one is
rigger class.
the operator.
Yeah, it's the operator slash rigger. So
Um,
tell me you're not trying to draw in Mike Pondsmith's Cyberpunk without actually saying you're competing with Mike Pondsmith.
well, you see, Cyberpunk doesn't have aliens in it.
Oh please, anyone worth a salt could come up with an alien plotline with space.
Also, does it have aliens fighting demons, fighting ninjas, fighting alien demon ninjas?
Well, at that point, you might as well just crack open Shadowrun, buddy.
Yeah, but you're playing as the humans,
You can play human in Shadowrun.
and you play as mech warriors.
Yeah,
Wow.
Shadowrun has a lot of flexibility because it's what happens if you throw Dungeons and Dragons and effectively Cyberpunk into a blender and then threw in your own weirdness to it. Do you want dragons to essentially rule the world as corporate oligarchs? Fuck yeah, do it.
Now, can you play as the dragons?
They're really overstated, so it's not recommended.
And that's what Rifts is for.
Rifts is for people that like to have mega damage. Which, if I
Oh,
remember right, that's an order of magnitude more. So you have to be
100,
like.
100 times standard.
So the operator's whole thing is just their mechanics and repair. Oh, they're just repairmen. Okay.
You could also be a psi operator.
I'm already moving on to Rogue Scholar because mechanics they do their thing and they can. Oh wait, no, let's do the Psi Operator. That seems kind of neat.
Yeah. About 15 to 20% are psychics. So you can get electrokinesis, machine ghost. You could read the history of an object, speed reading, resist fatigue, uh,
Okay,
teleme
so sort of
telemechanic paralysis.
basically minor technomancy combined with other traditional ESP.
Yeah.
You only need an IQ of 9 or higher.
Uh, and moving on to the
Rogue
rogue scholar.
Scholar.
Uh, let's see. They're an enemy of color states, traitor to humanity because they seek the truth.
So they're a conspiracy theory.
No, I think they. Let's. Because they like to teach people.
I mean, I could teach people about the cult of Rome.
Things that make them is that Scholars most dangerous are the rogues.
I can also teach people how that incident that happened back in the day was an
Oh,
inside job.
here's what they can do. It's because they can explain science.
I mean, so can a creationist, even if they do it poorly.
You know what? That actually would be an I think
A
technically you
creationist
can do a
rogue
rogue.
scholar.
Yes. No, no, a flat Earth rogue scholar.
No, the flat Earth is actually a secondary lie that the great conspiracy has concocted. Everyone knows that the Earth is actually a cone Earth.
Um, they possess forbidden artifacts such as books, photographs, artwork, recordings, film, anything from the golden age of man. So
I'm
yeah,
just
they
I'm just now envisioning a rogue scholar that just is dressed like Elvis, being like, "I gotta find the legacy. I found the legacy of the king. I gotta find his final resting spot. It's out in the west." Just,
you know
just
what that
hmm?
yeah that I you probably could do that. You,
He's looking for Las Vegas because that's the resting place of the king, or as he calls him, the King of Kings, the greatest of them all.
um,
He eats nothing but peanut butter and banana sandwiches, and then just asks the medic doc to give him anti constipation medicine, laxatives.
yeah. Um, let's see.
But yeah, rogue scholars are pretty useful. They actually go a little bit into some of their abilities and things.
Yeah.
But rogue scholar as an NPC, pretty useful for those of you who want to give weird, little journeys. Like,
Oh,
uh, hmm?
sorry. Here, I'm looking at some of their bonuses. They have a plus 20 to find contraband related to pre-rifts artifacts. They can get these items at 40%
They
off
can do what?
list price. They can get essentially rare artifacts for 40% less than list price.
Is it through the art of bullshit, or is it for actually being able to assess the true value?
I think it's probably assessed the true value.
The Earth is
Uh,
a disc on the top of the giant turtle. No, the problem is you're still wrong. That's still flat Earth thinking. It's revisionist flat Earth thinking, which means it's incorrect. It's the secondary level taught to you by the Great Conspiracy, the hated conspiracy of the. I'm trying to think of the dumbest. It's the greatest conspiracy behind the great rats, the rats that control everything through the walls. They sleep. They lurk through your walls and tell you what to think in your dreams.
no, I got that. Cats.
Uh,
Cats manipulate us into this so that we
They
use them as
manipulate us
mice
through their
hunting.
mind controlling parasite worms, yes.
Um, oh yeah, they recognize authenticity of an artifact.
Yeah, they can
Um,
definitely tell if it's a copy of Neil Breen's Double Down rather than just some weird like Turkish copy that was made during the apocalypse.
they have literacy of 4 languages. They can speak 3 languages. Um,
It's easier to read than it is to speak, in my opinion.
yeah, yeah. They have public speaking. They have research. They have weapon proficiency of something ancient and weapon proficiency of energy weapons.
These are the guys if you want to just erase people with like high energy Gauss rifles.
Yeah, 'cause, I mean they're the only ones who know how to. They read the manual.
I mean, besides the glitter boys, they probably can do it too.
Um,
Not as
let's
well,
see.
but still.
And they say next is the rogue scientist.
Oh, no, no.
Uh,
There's the rogue scholar finding out. The rogue scholar actually found a copy of the Day the Clown Cried script. That's the long lost secret they were finding.
one thing Coalition fears.
Is the Day the Clown Cried?
Yes. Or, or no, 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 no. It
Jerk.
has to be. It has to be the last copy of Blues Brothers. They destroyed it because they felt somehow that they were being made fun of.
No, it's the attempt to defeat. It's an attempt to destroy all divisionists in their state, in their Chi-town state, because if they knew they could just be run over by the Bluesmobile, then their entire government would collapse. You got to follow the dream of Terrence A. Davis. Run them over with your car. They glow in the dark. You know when.
Um,
And,
the
and no, my it is not unchained tonight, viewers. This is just what happens when Adam gets tired. It's like he gets high. It's fine. It's okay.
then well, next after that is the rogue scientist,
These are the
which
ones who basically either accidentally discover ideologically impure research or are just so shithouse rat crazy that even the Illinois Nazi Party is like, ah, hell nah.
or they got sick and tired of making new breeds of dog boys.
I mean, wouldn't you, after the 5,000th time one of them demanded you made a toad dog? You know, like the horrible pit bull monster, but as a dog boy.
Um,
The Illinois Nazi Party elites keep on trying to show off their most deformed dog boy and flexing over it.
they have a +10 bonus.
Unironically, I would love to. That could actually be a genuinely cursed plotline.
What the
Rogue scientists being forced to make more and more deformed dog boys because it's like a breeding purity standard for like a kennel club equivalent for the Illinois Nazi Party.
um, and then
They can't.
the
I have accidentally regressed them to tetrapods. I didn't even think that was possible. And
I
that's why
believe
they
there's
quit.
in the lore there's a facility in Texas where they do all these experiments.
Oh, that's not an experiment. It's just this is what happens when you do so much inbreeding. It's not even funny.
Um, well, the
Magic and
special
super
skill
science can only help so much.
you get a +10 bonus to anthropology, chemistry, computer hacking, entomological medicine,
Wait, entomological
zoology,
medicine? That's a real thing?
apparently.
Where is it? I'm trying to figure it.
Page 95.
I must have missed it. Because entomological means they're masters of understanding the insect.
Well, actually, considering that there's a horde of insects coming down from Minnesota, uh,
Okay. Oh yeah, the Zerg.
Zytec, I
Yeah, the
believe.
Zerg. I remember.
Um, they also have the ability to hypothesize.
That's the art of bullshit. Nah, I'm joking. It basically hypothesis is often confused with the term theory, where it is based on the information that you have at hand, you come up with either a set of guidelines that predicts what will happen or explain the thing that done happen. Like it is the understanding, for example, that you could have ice float in water unless it is heavy ice, which is made of heavy water.
Wait, no, no, I realize it's the Jimmy Neutron brain blast.
You essentially
Because
have the brain blast to explain away the science.
given all the information at hand, the character can make a quantum leap in logic to arrive at a new or possibly
It's a
radical
literal
solution to a
brain
problem.
blast.
It is.
Oh, that's
However,
not
this
good. That's not good. I made it a while back on Dicecom. There's a short video where I describe the nightmare that was essentially Jimmy. This is I should never play Rifts because the rogue scientist is essentially always going to call to me to
oh,
recreate Jimmy in all of his horrendous fucking glory.
hold on a minute. It's
His
only for
stats were Jimmy. His abilities were Jimmy. Y-
it's only to be used for a sudden flash or insight for a quick fix. It does not
it
apply to
limited it.
finding a cure for cancer or figuring out how to use or improve everything. It does
So,
reduce penalties for extremely alien physiology or alien technology by half.
so what you're saying is, could I still staple together a horrifying undead colossus using the corpses of a dozen people that I found on the floor?
Eh, I mean, if you probably have the right technology,
That is the type of horrible crap that Jimmy would do.
they can also recognize scientific
Oh,
authenticity
who's
and
Jimmy?
quality.
Basically, so here's what happened for those wondering. We were playing a Dungeons and Dragons game. The concept was right as the apocalypse was beginning. Essentially, imagine if you know how Shadowrun magic appears out of nowhere and kind of causes societal that, but it's an order of magnitude worse because it's the result of two realities interlapping between each other on the same vibration wavelength, and it fuses the world, which causes some nasty side effects. So, anyway, I go into that game and hear the word Kender Frenzied Berserker, which Kender are trash. They are basically halflings, but designed to be obnoxious, thieving little bastards. And Frenzied Berserker is a class so good we talked about it on I believe it was the Book of the Complete Warrior, which we actually do have in the Autistic Analysis video series. But basically, Frenzied Berserkers, rather than rage, they go into frenzy. They can't leave frenzy until they succeed in a very hard willpower check, and they target everyone, including your allies, once all the enemies are dead. So, when I heard that bullshit, I was like, well, I'm not gonna bother. So here's this bullshit. His name's Jimmy. His stats are Jimmy. His abilities are Jimmy. That got accepted, and I crashed that game. No fucking survivors.
So they have the ability to recognize scientific authenticity and quality.
they
Uh,
can they can learn if someone's making pseudoscientific bullshit.
well,
See,
no, it's more like, wait a minute, this uh, this heroin has fentanyl in it.
Marauders for Mage. Oh no, Marauders for Mage are more polite than Kender. Like Marauders for Mage are actually genuinely insane, so you kind of understand where they're coming from. Kender literally just they get pissy because when they steal shit from you, they claim it's borrowing. They're totally borrowing. And I forgot to 1 second. I thought I killed Steam. It did not. It's okay.
I didn't hear anything.
No, it's just it's for my quality of life purposes, sort of thing.
Nice.
Don't
Let's see.
mind me.
There's
I'm just murdering Task Manager.
they know how to pilot a car. They know basic and advanced math. They know
Oh, I
four
imagine they should know
languages.
math.
Um,
The
they know how to
problem
operate
has
the
been
radio.
resolved. Are you fucking kidding me? I killed you! I killed you!
Well, let's come back from the dead.
Die, motherfucker!
Oh,
That,
something that you can tell when this was made. One of their equipments
no,
is a pocket
die!
audio.
It doesn't, it's not stopping! I did it. Holy crap, that was an actual war with Steam.
So on the again, this you can tell this was made in the 80s. The scientist comes with a pocket audio digital disc recorder and player, plays 1-inch discs with 2 hours per disc, powered by a tiny 1-year battery.
Oh, they thought that was advanced. Oh, that's cute.
You have a digital camera with 100 still photos and up to 30 minutes of video per video disc.
I mean, that was crap even back in the day. You could get was it a 5 hour video?
Um,
No, admittedly, I think this is supposed to be a relatively high quality digital camera. Oh, it's a digital camera, yeah. Then there's the Vagabond, which is your rogue. Like, literally, it's a fucking rogue.
yeah, it seems to be literally just the. This is the character that if you really have no idea on what to make up, it says many nomads, wilderness folk, peasants, farmers, major psychics, and mutants are vagabonds.
Yeah, they're rogues. Here's some random stuff they can do, like barter, beg, and cook, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Um, Next is the wilderness scout.
I like how it uses a plastic composite bow. That's
Oh, it's a
cute.
plastic composite bow with apparently psychic or energy
I could see it.
arrows. Um,
It's a plasma arrow. It's the thing Chewbacca shot from his plasma caster.
I thought it was a bowcaster.
Bowcaster, thank you.
They have the ability to identify fruits and plants.
Well, yeah, these are kind of your rangers.
It can either know how to pilot a motorcycle, a hovercycle, or an exotic horse.
Essentially the ride skill, but fluffed up differently. Not pooping, I'm just via comparison knowing other systems. This is essentially a ranger, just with a bit more flexible skills.
Oh, next up is the uh,
They also don't get
magic.
targeted enemies, just as a heads up. These guys are purely for navigation.
Looks like next up is
Oh fuck, we haven't gotten to the magic yet, so yeah, there's even more.
wizards.
But wait, there's more.
And they're saying that this character class was created from the Nokia video game Rift's Promise of Power, which will be in stores October 2005 for the N-Gage gaming
Fucking
platform.
Nokia. God, the N gauge. I vaguely remember what that thing looked like. No, oh god.
I I never had that. Didn't even know that existed until years later. I assume it's supposed to be what, like a knockoff Game Boy?
No, it's not even that. It's supposed to be a phone that has the abilities of a gaming console in it.
Wait a minute, that's what we have today.
It was like a proto smartphone, but with glorious flip phone technology.
Oh God.
It is a cursed implement.
So these
To give
guys.
you an idea, the N-Gage kind of sold like shit because it was a little too early to the game, technologically speaking. And also, it's made by fucking Nokia. What do you expect?
So so the Elemental Fusionist, it's the Avatar.
Yeah, I
They
could
they
believe it.
can they can combine two conflicting forces of nature, fire and water, or earth and air.
Why do that when you can use the Chinese elements instead? Come on, get on my level.
Remember, China's isolated and being controlled by demons. So
They're not trying hard enough, damn it.
um yeah, they have the ability to use elemental magics.
And here's
And
their spell list, which is a variety of stuff. It looks relatively diverse. I wouldn't say obvious, but very much blatantish, if you know what I mean.
they
Where
can con
you do the thing and it does the thing.
you can converse with the elements. Um,
Oh yeah, elementals. They're a thing that was in D&D that he decided to bring over here because, having literal forces of nature in the form of condensed avatars like little shards of the sheer like say the sheer ferocity of the flames of the the flames that consume forest. That shit's kind of cool and they're like essentially neutral, not quite demons, but more in the Greek daemon kind of way, where
um,
things got power.
The
They're all ooga
next
booga, by the way.
thing fun is the fusion powers. Uh, remember, these guys combine two elements. So, for
Wait, it's
instance,
called being a
flame
commie. I don't think communists can fling rocks using dark magic.
says the fire and water fusionist can douse himself with water and set it or his own sweat on fire. To set his body ablaze rather than burn him, it creates a protective energy field. You light yourself on fire.
I mean, I could just envision playing this just to fuck with people, like being, like, just walking up to the nearest town going, I have given up on this world, and then pour gasoline on myself and fake, torching myself.
You don't need to use gasoline. You just use your sweat.
Well, no, I use water to fake, I put water in a jerry can and just be like, I am fed up with this world, and then just do that.
You can
Just to fuck with people.
make fire travel like water.
I mean, fire kind of already is a liquid in how it
You
moves.
call fire down
Well,
from
not
the
liquid,
sky like it was
fluid, I should
lightning.
say. Call what down the sky like it was lightning fire?
Yeah, you can make fire water, which is not what you're thinking. You can turn water or alcohol into a magical elixir that'll warm the insides, keep the person warm. So
Well, no, that
it's
is exactly what I was fucking thinking.
without the alcohol.
Yeah, it's still basically booze.
Um,
Oh, I got it, Dark Sun. You meant the demons are communist. Communist demons, I don't know, that seems more of a devil kind of point of view. Demons I think would be more like national anarchists or some type of mutualist that mutually agree to violently murder you.
the Earth-air fusions. Let's see. You can change the consistency of the Earth with imperceptible air vibrations, and turn hard, packed Earth into loose, soft ground for easy digging.
Or alternatively, to recreate people dying in quicksand deaths in the good Tarzan movies.
Um, I mean, most of this seems to be just like
No, no,
telekinesis.
you forgot the other. It's not quite telekinesis. It's basically splicing elemental energy to create weird effects. I imagine he can also airwalk by solidifying air.
Um, Let me see.
If he doesn't, I'd
Wind lift,
recommend giving it. Yep, there it is.
powerful
And
controlled
here's
wind.
all the spells right here. I'm just gonna quickly go through because we have literally 200 plus pages to go.
Oh, we get a
Then again, I
after
think I
this.
said we were only doing a two-parter of this just because the first bit was so interesting. I don't remember. See, here's the thing. This is Adam when he's tired. I don't remember nothing at this point. By the way, check out these guys, to which I think are inspired from 2000 AD.
Maybe.
I think they remind me of. There was another line beside Judge Dredd that like involved robots or something like that. Reminds me of these guys.
ABC Warriors.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. I like the art though, I'll be fair. Part 3 then? Who knows? Maybe. Here's some more glorious art that's just done in like a crazy man fucking style. It's good art, it's just what a normal person wouldn't do this shit. No, like all of this art's great. It's just why the fuck do you do it like this? No, most people just kind of,
Hold on,
use it throughout.
check out the body fixer uh,
I love the Black
artwork.
Knight facing off this army of gargoyles. That's pretty great. That's the whirlwind from Marvel. That's like from the Marvel comics. He's just missing his buzzsaw gauntlets.
Somehow the body fixer has a captive woman and a giant baby demon.
Not bad, but I also like how he kind of looks like a Catholic priest. It's not on purpose. It's just it has that energy to it. Evil Cyberdoc. Meanwhile, this person also looks like an evil Cyberdoc.
Which one?
Ah, shit. For what, Jimmy? I do like the rogue scholar just musing on this dead robot's head. A mind melter, which we haven't gotten yet. Fair enough if it's off topic. Here's the Illinois Nazi Party getting destroyed by a psychic person. Oh god, this implies there's a shitload of mages, aren't there?
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
Well, they split mages between that and psychics.
On the one hand, cool. On the other hand, motherfucker. Leyline walkers, they cast magic, but they're not traditional. They use their powers through ley lines. I hope you don't mind if I kind of speed run any percent this one because it doesn't interest me all
Oh,
that
don't
much.
worry. Because the next thing up is the Leyline Walker themselves.
That's what I meant.
Oh,
I'm speed
I
running
thought,
because they're kind of dull. Their whole thing is they gain power through ley lines, and
yeah.
their whole thing is sensing it. I'll quickly go through spells if there's anyone. They can teleport across them. That's kind of cool. They can drift and walk. That's pretty useful, and they can regenerate from it. But any spells that they got that are unique to them? No, not really.
I'd
Leyline
move up.
Rifter, motherfucker. I'm not going to bother. It's a variant. I don't fucking care.
I'd go to the Shifter.
I'll quickly look at Mystic. Mystic uses a mixture of magic and basically ASP. So their thing is essentially, and on top of that, they gain their powers more through fortune than via power, like training. So for them, they gain the psionic powers, sense evil, opening oneself up to the weird, and some psionic abilities here. But they also pick up magic powers. It's a weird eclectic mix between the two. Oh yeah. Tomorrow is apparently Canada Day. I would not have known that. Thanks for the info on that, though. Let's see. You mentioned the shifter. Here we go. Shifters are students of magic whose emphasis is mastery over the rifts. Oh yeah, those are the dimensional portals that the Cthulhu monsters come out of.
Yeah, they're the guys who think it's a brilliant idea to start summoning them.
Oh, actually, spells being later in the book makes sense. It's putting the rules at the end that doesn't make any fucking sense.
Um,
By the way, that actually does, unironically, this again proves Derek's a hack because he did the same fucking thing with Chult. Oh god, my stomach. I'm getting diarrhea just thinking about it. I'm kidding.
they can sense dimensions. They have innate spell knowledge of.
They can sense the glowy portals of extra dimensional Cthulhu magic to channel it into their powers. Well, actually, they don't have powers naturally. It seems they just reject portal energy. Not reject, eject portal energy by essentially absorbing and using it.
Because the whole thing with magic in the system is that you have, I guess, points. You can get them by leeching off of others or
Oh,
killing them.
it
Because
uses MP.
yeah, because here's the thing: because killing people will generate more, like double the energy.
So you think that's cool and creative and all that, but D&D did the magic point system earlier than this, and on top of that, in second edition, Dark Sun had the same mechanic. That is actually how the more common branch of arcane magic works. Is you essentially have to sacrifice the life energy of others to gain power through it.
They do it for psychics as well.
Okay. So in a way, unironically, this is kind of a bit like Athos in that regard, where murder and using their power is a thing. Um, although the difference is in Athos, rather than just becoming a horrible big dragon that steals all of the life energy of the planet, instead you could just become a giant manta ray that tries to commune and basically conserve. The Lorax versus the Onceler in that regard. So in terms of spell knowledge, they get a variety of crap. And this is what they look like. It's a bootleg pinhead. He has such sights to show you. Such sights to show. He doesn't have. He does have a lot of shite to show you. I'll be honest. He does have a pretty cool menagerie of gimps. He apparently treats them well since this one wants more punishment. Oh yeah, torment me harder from the realm of infinite agony, Daddy, says the giant Tyrannosaurus monster. Sorry, it's just when you have an expression like that and then this weirdo like looming like, yes. What am I supposed to think, you know? Look, it's clear they're all consenting to be turned into bondage monsters for this horrible rift guy. Except maybe the spider. The spider looks kind of traumatized. Maybe he should get out. But yeah, shifters can also go through multiple dimensions, which is very, from what I understand, that's both asking for getting destroyed, but also gives you a lot of potential power because
Depends on where you end
multiple
up going.
dimensions, yeah. And you can also link home, rifting on the same world, blah blah blah. They get familiars. These are kind of like your traditional wizards in a way. To summon, there's the battle of will through summoning, making summoning kind of a pain in the asshole. See, in Dungeons and Dragons, there's two variations of summoning an animal, right? There's summoning your monster, which just basically plorps an example of the monster from the plane of. It's not the plane of infinite monsters, it's essentially the nearest corresponding plane. So, like, if you summon a beast, it usually comes from the wild. I forget the name exactly, but it comes from their equivalent of the wilds. And it's like a little representation, like the representative of whatever, and it's linked to you, and it's like a fragment of that representative. Then there's calling, which is what this is like, where you call a specific entity, and in those cases, you usually have to make an arrangement with them to continue that deal. And this is pretty similar. Makes it more of a pain in the butt, but hey, I mean, this is the game that allows you to blow someone's face away with a shotgun for 18,000 damage. Mainly because the shotgun was automated and the size of a skyscraper, but you know, that's what happens when you fight against Kilgore, the giant robot death machine left over from the war. What's the war? I don't know. Let's see, more shifter stuff. Here's some more stats. They get some stuff. They get some good languages. They know how to read a little bit. And they know about fairy lore. Fairy lore. But why have that when you can have the Best Buy Geek Squad serve as your wizard instead?
Ah, the Techno Wizard.
Techno Wizard. Come on, don't you want a member of the Word of Blake to teach you about the glories of call and collect?
They're psychonic, pretty much. But their main thing is, again, the ability to create Techno Wizard stuff.
Techno Wizards allow you to create super science, essentially.
Um, might use the spell Impervious to Fire to prevent overheating, or Energy Bolt to power a laptop computer.
Well, you see, I accidentally replaced the computer. When I was building this supercomputer, I fucked up and didn't get thermal paste. I replaced it with lobster butter. You know, butter that tastes like lobster. I replaced the thermal paste with that. So instead, it just cooked it more. So I just cast a spell on it so it doesn't immediately cook its guts out.
It might make sense in more of a isolated setting.
Well,
You don't
I mean,
really have
another example could be like, hey, you found this junky pile of shit, and you kind of need it to work for this one little thing. Hey, let's get the magic man to work his magic, and he's like, oh, I can't make it work normally, so here, hibbity boobity boo, I made it work despite it missing like half of its fucking parts. Now come back so I can do some tweaking on that spell.
um the rules or the guidelines they start on page 130.
Oh, apparently DBs also include humans, which there's a bunch of humans in a multiple bunches of universes.
Yeah,
I
because
didn't
they're
know that.
different dimensions.
Oh yeah, because this is the multi-crossover setting, so unironically, if you wanted to just insert your weird fan fiction character here, you could.
The
I'm not pooping on the setting. I'm just pointing out that's the thing you can do. The only thing I'm
so
pooping on is the fact that the rules are at the end of the fucking book.
the
Oh, and
create
the first
a
third of this book is a bit of a weird thing until you get to the characters. Let's be fair. It's a bit of a
right.
dry read.
So the see the way to create a Techno Wizard device, determine its form. So it says, well, you could build an energy cannon out of a washing machine. It would be difficult.
No, you're not thinking creatively enough.
You know what I'm going to do instead? The wash the no, the vending machine that creates grenades.
Washing machine that creates grenades, not bad.
No, no, vending machine.
That's also pretty good. I like that. That's some good creativity. But I got a better idea. Why do that when I can just animate the vending machine to fire out cans containing liquid antimatter at fucking ridiculous speeds.
Well,
So that
because uh, saying because well, you then
what
have to put a lot more power into it.
I mean, if you think about it hard, if you do it the right way, you can make it so that it fires the cans like a machine gun.
Well, because you also need gems for it to work.
How about a mechanical wind-up monkey whose sole purpose is to wander around the town invisible at night, hitting its cymbals to wake everyone up because you're an asshole.
Probably be easy to do because activation cost is the PPE construction cost divided by 20.
Oh, he's kind of tapping a bit into create construct with this.
Yeah.
Create construct's a thing we talked about in Dungeons and Dragons Autistic Analysis last stream we did. I'm just pointing out like this guy seems to have a habit of looking to other ideas, or maybe he comes up with them at the same time, like strange minds think alike.
It says it's for each spell chain.
That'd also be like infusions for what's this artificiers. Although this beats artificiers by a good time, so uh,
For
obviously
example, if
they do get mechanical engineer as a skill. Also basic math because knowing what 2 plus 2 equals is kind of important. You see, programming is purely mathematics. It's a language of math. So, if you forget to carry the one, you might accidentally have the robot decide rather than murder everyone around it like you ordered it to, its sole function is to hug everyone and give them a sandwich.
but here's the reason why you need the gems, because the gems have specific powers.
So there's nothing there and there's nothing to the techno wizard.
Well, no, the Techno Wizard knows how to, I guess, imbue the gem with a specific spell and to build the machine.
I think it's a little weird that it always has to be gems rather than say arcane runes or exotic materials from another dimension or something.
Well,
I could just use this piece of quartz I found in my backyard. It's not powerful, but it allows me to do just a little bit. Or hey, look,
actually,
here's
let's
this
see.
chunk of corundum. That'll allow me to do more.
Quartz, I mean, depending on its type, see what we can do. A lot of fire stuff, or light, cure illness.
Is Caspiridon a fan of crystal magic?
Don't know.
Because that's something I'd hear from New Agers, which isn't too surprising since sci-fi in the '80s had a undertone of New Age. I think it was due to Star Wars having a bit of a weird religious undertone. Weirdly enough, Japan had the same brainwave with Gundam. That's what the concept of new types are. It's a refutation that even with psychic powers, where you intrinsically know people better than you do because you're just empathetically linking with them. Even with all that, people still fight, usually for pretty fucking stupid reasons. At least that was kind of the point that new types were supposed to show. Is like even with this improved empathy, it's kind of a refutation on the concept, similar to how was it? Similar to how the augments from Star Trek are a refutation. Like even if you improve humanity, you can also make the worst of their behaviors even greater. Stone and room magic are two different things in the system. Oh, holy shit! I can't wait to get into that. Oh boy, I love my Mendelian subsystems. Oh, looky, a lexicon. This would have been nice for earlier in the book with your other shit. Oh boy. Oh boy. There's a bunch of stuff that they get. I can definitely tell Tech Wizard was something that the creator of the what's his face, Caspirita,
Kevin Simbita.
Sabita. I'm sorry, I thought his name was Caspirita. I like combined the names into some abomination. Kevin Spierta, like I think he really liked this class, hence why it's so long compared to the other ones.
When it says here that you can literally create a weapon out of a plank of wood, a few wires, and a pyrocrystal.
That's him just ripping off the orcs, because if the orc believes hard enough that the piece of wood he's holding is a gun, it'll fire a bullet. At least in
Not,
very early editions of
not really.
In early, like the first three-ish editions, from what I understand, of 40k, an orc could literally, if they believe fucking hard enough, make a plank of wood shoot a bullet.
No, not really. It's more like this.
No, no, like the
The-
earliest. Later
yeah,
on,
no,
it,
no.
it became like it had to be kind of plausible-ish.
Well, from what I know, it's more like this. I'll have a gun. There might have put, uh, I guess, like, there's no firing pin in it, or
Yeah, yeah.
it's got
In
it's
later
got bullets
editions.
in it, but it can't fire. They, that's how it's like the belief they'll fire, because it's just somehow it works.
No, that's later edition. Not like massively later. It's like as I think early as fourth edition. As early as fourth edition, uh, like another example could be orcs could believe the truck goes on forever and it would go on forever. Later editions basically say it's kind of the menorah but orcs, so it's like, do we got enough guzzle to go to the fight? And they're like, course you go. Do we do you gets? And they forgot to refuel it, but they're because there's still gas technically in it. Their belief stretches it to the point where they can get to the fighting because they want to fight that bad.
Well, now you got me thinking of Jewish orcs.
Yeah, come on. Don't you want Jewish orcs from 40k?
Trying to see how that would work and how to make it so it's not offensive.
And the Bernie bits is still going. I've just envisioned
8 whole was.
AO was we had a bunch of Bernie fuel. We didn't have enough, but then the boss told us we had enough, and so for 8 wars we fought with what we got, and 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 the flamethrower kept throwing fire. Like that's their version of Hanukkah. Is just the magical flamethrower that refuses to give up burning.
Held out for 8 whole days. And some get shot him and took the flamer with him.
I'm just envisioning their version of a Reuben.
So I'm imagining now their Ark of the Covenant, except it's just a warp portal.
No, their Ark of the Covenant, which is just a pile of scrap metal hammered loosely into the shape of like a fucking box. What's in the box? The rules of Mork and Gork. And it's just loot, punch, wah. They don't got the 10 commandments, they got the 3 cuz they can't count higher than 3.
No, the thing is, yeah, it's three. They just keep fighting over which is first.
And then they fight Catholic like Imperium. This is just a silly little like goofy concept. I came up with something similarly cursed with the concept of a Skaven orc war in the depths of the Badlands around the ruins of Morcane, where the Skaven were trying to get something from there, and they were fighting against the infinite hordes of Rastafasta, the orcs that would have squigs, attached to their heads so they kind of look like Rastafari haircuts.
Moving back on to Techno Wizards.
Oh come on, come on. We could like you could have an orc as a DB.
Oh yeah, no, that would work.
I'm just now
Uh,
envisioning an orc cut off
be
from their
dead.
like.
They'd be dead in few seconds because they don't have mega damage armor.
No, you don't understand. They learned the way of defist. They learn kung fu, which is mostly just punching people and looting their shit. But let's be fair.
Here's another reason why, like, with I guess difficult to just make the Techno Wizard device powerful. On your roll to see if you built it, -1 per point of PPE that the device is capable of storing.
What's that?
Uh, don't remember. It's the energy base, wizard energy.
Oh yeah,
It's
wizards
MP.
have MP. Yeah. So each magical device you make eats away one of your MP permanently.
Oh no, it's how much can be stored in the device instead of using your own.
Oh, well, that's easy. You build a magic recharger that uses the glowy energy. Yeah, you just plug it into your nearest ley line or dimensional portal, hope the Cthulhu or the bugs don't eat it, and you're fine. Anyway, besides the Techno Wizard's wild ride, I think it is easily the largest character sheet, which that's a bit fucking jank. That is a bit fucking jank. Let's be real.
Because then they also have to explain the different,
You're
I guess, some example
justifying it, but
technologies.
this is no, you're justifying it. It's still kind of jank. Let's be fair. I
Oh,
know
because
why. I know why he did it, but like, it's 20 fucking pages, my dude.
I'm seeing an example, the TK machine gun, portal, telekinetic machine gun that fires telekinetic energy instead of bullets.
Okay.
I was imagining then like some wizard levitating it and just shooting all their enemies from like a vantage point.
Yeah, I've seen that. It was in Metal Gear Solid 4. Revolver Ocelot did it.
Well, these aren't the guns of the Patriots.
You
It's
no,
just
not yet, but they will be.
it's just a wizard gun.
Anyway, psychic powers, because I'll be real, the Techno Wizard, I get why it's that long, but holy shit. Holy shit.
Oh, so psychics are allowed in
Oh,
uh
they're allowed in Dungeons and Dragons. It's just for
oh
some
no,
reason players get pissy when you bring them up, even though they're weaker than wizards.
in the coalition states.
Oh yeah, the Illinois Party of Nazis. I'm surprised they're allowing psychics. Are they a second-class citizen?
Yes.
Of course they
I mean
are.
you have to have the core. You have to have your psi core.
But they're second class in this one too.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Requiring them to register, have a tattoo and an implant to activate psi scanners.
There's a
Um,
reason why I think sometimes Rift is accused of being a bit of a what is it? What was it? The Age of Strife Earth, like a little bit of a Warhammer ripoff sometimes.
well, no, because these are psychics in the traditional sense, not psychics as we are using powers from the dimension of hell.
I know, but like you're kind of getting into the bare differences, like the little bare differences, rather than
No,
the overall kind of.
this is more in line with something like Babylon 5 in terms of its psychics. Where they have them registered and they have various levels of their abilities. Some of them maybe are just like telepaths, while some of them,
Okay.
could be a
I
telekinetic
wouldn't
or
know.
like
I've
that.
never really. I still haven't gotten around to watching Babylon 5, sadly, but
It's good. Um,
I can't wait for them to bring it up, like the entertainment industry, to as a last gasp, right as the lights are about to shut down, make the world's worst remake of it. It'll be so bad. It'll be wonderful. We'll get to see the world collectively throw up at it.
moving on though
Don't you
to
want to see that? Don't you want to see the horrible?
considering considering how that show is brilliant in terms of character
Uh,
development, politics.
imagine the most unlikable, brain dead, retarded person in the world. Oh, also malevolent. Malevolent, evil, written like a man, but it's a woman. And also, it's going to be fuck you. We need to advance and progress beyond faster, 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 faster against the evil
There,
insert Republican stand in here. And then they wonder why it only gets like 100,000 people watching. And they're like, why? As they lose $20 billion.
here's the funny thing. That's actually the villain of the series. That's unchecked progress, or at least just the personal greed and expansion. Trying not to spoil things, but it's like that's kind of the main
That's fair. You don't want to
problem.
spoil it, but here's the problem. They're gonna write the protagonists like the bad guy, and then they're gonna accidentally make the bad guy right. A Hollywood writer. Oh, you mean future chattel for the wagey cage because their relevance has been destroyed by Friend Computer. Friend Computer knows how to write a better script than most of those fuckers.
It just if they made that and they didn't get the message behind Babylon 5,
They wouldn't. There's no way. In fact, they'd actually say like upfront to the actors, "Don't watch it." Because they hate what goes before them because they know it'll always be compared to the trash they're making. I'd love to see. I want to see
because
the
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 whole thing about
reaction.
it takes place on Space Galactic UN. The entire point of that series is compromise.
Oh, they're not going to compromise at all. They're going to be like
God,
clearly one side is wrong and it's going to be the pastiche of insert bad guy who disagrees with me here. And then throw in a random horrifying fetish or two in there, and also get an uncharismatic, poorly directed plank of wood lady to be the main character, and you have most of what's likely going to be made because sci-fi stories are basically going to be mangled until you get a new shift in how things are made.
moving on from that horror. Uh,
What the predictive horror that I think I'll probably be completely right if they ever do.
because
That's if they don't go out of business beforehand.
because just wouldn't be bad. It would just be horribly offensive to the entire concept of the show.
Adam, you fool! So what you're saying is they'd just be as good. It'd be exactly as good as Rings of Power. Got it. So Burster,
They're just idiots. They would deliberately fuck up the entire message.
do you think they give a shit?
So
They'd
it
be
would be
like
like
the
a Lord,
message was wrong.
it'd be like a Lord of the Rings. You know what? Unchecked industrialization is correct.
They actually tried to make Sauron a sympathetic Walter White-esque character. So what the fuck does that tell you?
I mean, he was what?
They also low-key try to ship him with a married woman in the show. So oh, by the way, the married woman's an elf, which, if you're wondering, elves essentially they marry for life. So,
I mean, he's an immortal deity, so
well, she's already married way before then, like a couple thousand years before then, I think. At least
Is
1,000.
the Shadow of War game is much more respectful. The franchise. They made
Unironically, the
they made
Gollum game.
Isildur a ring wraith.
Unironically, the Gollum game shows more respect than Rings of Power.
But again, moving on,
The
talk more
fucking
about Rift.
Gollum game.
The Burster, uh,
It's pyrokinetic.
is it pyrokinetic.
Yeah, they're pyrokinetics.
Uh,
They're, that's what they do. They're immune to fire and heat, obviously. They can actually turn off fires, and they can also self-immolate, which does no damage to them. And then they can just set everything else on fire. This is the class. If you know you have a player that likes to just randomly set things on fire, either let them play it and watch the havoc, or essentially ban them from it. Depends on the style you're going for. Oh, there is a remake for Babylon 5 being made. Oh, I think I just predicted exactly how it's going to go. And it's made by CW, which is which has lost money, I think, ever since it was founded.
I mean, they did make the Lois and Superman series, which is good.
Mediocre, but translated as good in this current time period. Well, I wouldn't quite say maybe mediocre. I can't. To be fair, I've kind of zoned out. It's at least good enough to the point where they're actually continuing to commit to it and actually giving it a bigger budget and basically willing to eat the cost because they know there's an internal potential in it. They also at least sent Gotham Knights into the blender, into the garbage compactor. Although, do you want to know why CW is doing that rather than just saying fuck it? It's because they're trying to make profit now. A new company's running it, essentially. That's why they're acting that way.
Uh,
Sorry about the off topic, people. It's just there's only so much you can talk about people who set shit on fire, and there's like a gajillion fucking other classes I gotta look at.
the next one's the Dog Boy,
Okay, this one's actually interesting. So
page
straight up,
132.
the Nazi Party of Illinois makes these dog monsters. They're horrible human-animal hybrids that gain empathic powers because of their splicing.
Actually, no, they originally came from pre-Rift's Earth.
Oh, they were?
Uh, because of human augmentation leading to genetic manipulation, or genetic manipulation of humans was predictable. So it was outlawed,
Basically,
except wait,
furries wanted to become furries, and this is the result.
except for the Chinese. The Chinese continued with human experimentation because, of course, they would.
Well, yeah.
Eventually, American geneticists could endow animals with human or at least humanoid intelligence, speech, and physiology.
Oh, they're elevated animals. Okay.
Yep. Uh, out.
I thought
Um.
they were de-evolved people,
Oh.
or
Oh no. No. No.
or weird like furry transhumanists that became an entire species.
No. I think most of this comes from the fact there's this. Well, they did the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game. Uh, Palladium did that, and it had a lot of rules about like making humanoid animals.
Fair enough. It's not surprising he ripped from it since this is kind of the everything goes. Also, again, very strong
I mean, this is
2000
from his
AD
own.
vibes.
This is from his own product. So.
Not Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, dude.
Oh no no. Palladium made a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles RPG.
Yeah, but was that before or after this one?
It was before this.
The Teenage Mutant Ninja one? Because by this logic, that's technically his IP, but also not because there's also the company that gave him the rights to it, you know?
See, well, they just had experience with this kind of.
He basically he used his work from before but filed the numbers off so that he couldn't get sued. Sorry about that.
And
I just had to clarify because again, tired Adam is a strange Adam.
so
But
the
what was it? So yeah, Dog Boys are a genetic engineering creation. Dog Boys enjoying close camaraderie of the human troops. And on top of
science,
that, they are literally bred to be subservient to their Illinois Nazi Party masters. which makes that relationship quite disturbing and creepy.
I believe it's more in the sense of they're supposed to be loyal. I mean, they can go rogue, but it's
I'm aware. It's just there's also that inbred inferiority complex where they follow them, which is like there's just that little bit of creepy which works.
I mean, they're being made by a guy whose name is Desmond Bradford, which
I mean, if I had a
just
name like
sounds
that,
like a villain.
I mean, if I had a name like that, I'd create a race that'd worship me too.
Um, so they have the ability to sense psychic and magic energy,
You know, because
recognize psychic
animals can
scent.
detect ghosts.
Um, they have identify specific odors.
They can also
Um,
smell psychic energy too.
um,
They also can be trained to learn about to smell other people and DBs. They're used to basically track down and kill them. Here's an entire bunch of them being ordered by a dude with a spiky helmet, which I think he's supposed to be a crazy dude or one of their psyop guys.
he seems to be a psi guy. He's got the psi on him.
But yeah,
Um,
these guys are pretty neat.
and there are bonuses based on the specific breed of dog.
Well, yeah, because there's some dogs are better at doing things than others. Like there's your hunting dogs that are, you know, designed to either be stamina crazy or fast. There's your retrievers, which have the ability to draw. There's your bloodhounds, and then there's your fighting hounds.
It's because they make it like specific, like the Irish Water Spaniel, Golden Retriever.
Oh, that's just a
Or-
creator being a bit on the autistic side again. Let's be
Yeah,
fair.
it's on all these different types, which it's a bit weird, but again, it's
You
the amount
get
of
it.
detail.
You get it. It's a bit crazy, a bit mental, I think, but that's the autism going, and I do like my tables, so I'm not. I am okay with it.
And then you have actually like mutation abnormality.
Yep. Anywho, Mind Melter. These guys specialize in destroying your minds with facts and logic. At least that's the shit post. Yeah, basically they fry your brain like a microwave. Let's see. They go into details about how exactly. Doesn't need a
Melt
machine. No, its
they
powers come
melt your
from.
mind.
They're forbidden entry to all coalition cities because they're essentially walking assassins. Because at any point you could just, you know, use your brain to essentially scanner someone to the point where their head explodes.
Yeah, that's right. These are the scanners.
Yep. Alignment any, which was kind of surprising.
Well, I mean, scanners. You can be good or bad.
True. They have a variety of skills. This one's a lot shorter than that, but that's not surprising. Here's the stalkers.
They're human mutants. They
Basically,
were
they're a mutated branch of humanity that are essentially trained and I think bred to specialize in killing psychics.
they're more just. I think they developed over time. It's not like they were purposely created.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, their mutation took place early in the 200 years of Dark Age. Um, it can, which actually make some somewhat makes sense. It's like, well, how do you survive? Well, if you can sense the various magical and demonic entities,
You can escape from it,
yes,
and then they just kind of like the hairlessness kind of evolved naturally.
they are different from true humans, so they technically a different species, I think.
Depends. Are they? Depends. What happens if you decide to go full Derek and plow one?
I don't know. I don't. Surprisingly,
Because
I don't
the
think that's
thing
been
about
answered.
speciation is whether or not you can have fertile offspring.
Well, they're maybe a subspecies then.
Subspecies would be fair. There are cat versions of dog boys, but the nickname's the curse part. Oh, please tell me, what are the
Oh
horrible
no.
nicknames for them, Jim? I need to.
Oh
Oh, of
no.
course. Cats, but Japanese, of course. Also, if
Then
also these guys are pretty useful in killing those bugs, the Zerg, since their powers allow them to avoid them. So yeah, they have the ability to sense psychic stuff, supernatural beings. They're pretty good at detecting ghosts. They do have to feed on psychic energy. You have to essentially kill them and eat. They have to kill and eat psychics.
or anything with psychic
Psychic
energy.
energy.
They cannot feed on beings who are not practitioners of magic, creatures of magic, psychic, or supernatural in nature.
Even wild psychers wear mega damage capable armor. So here's my thinking. So here's one of the things I don't get. Like, I get mega damage is a thing that causes instant death, but like, if everyone has mega armor, what's kind of the point, you know?
It's to differentiate it from other settings. So if you go to the fantasy world where they have standard stuff, now sort of to differentiate the power because I mean that's basically just the reason given.
Oh, so it's just a really stupid flex. Got it. No offense, it's just
Yeah.
it
It's to
feels like a flex.
kind of say this universe is much more tough and dangerous than the other
Bleh,
universes. Because
bleh.
yeah, that's kind of it.
See in West End Star Wars, and I think the D20 version as well. They had scaling damage like mega damage, but do you know why they had it? It represented getting shot with a goddamn Star Destroyer turret or something.
Yeah,
You
they
know, a
could have.
big fuck off weapon. No
Oh,
offense, it's just it kind of annoys me a bit.
here's something interesting with the wild Psy Stalker. Over the century, they've advanced but remained very much like Native American Indian tribes of the past, only a bit more wild and savage.
Okay,
And that's
that's a bit. Because of course they're savage. You can't have them be their You can't have them like come up with their own weird culture.
um,
Come on, can't
then
you?
at
I got a funnier idea. Wild Psy Stalkers based on the West Virginia mountain folk. You know, the ones with high levels of inbreeding. Or alternatively, how about Psy Stalkers Hasidic in the Hasidic neighborhood, or as a part of the Italian mob? Like the Italian mob degenerated into Psy Stalkers. You know, and I say degenerate, but in reality, mutated, I should say. You could do it a bit different, you know? Then again, I mean, it kind of makes sense that they spawn in the areas nearest to the all the death magic crap. So I reckon it makes sense they go native, since those are the areas of Canada in the West, you know? Okay, fair enough. I talked myself into it. I just pointed out you could be a little more creative than just that, personally
moving on,
speaking.
moving on from the Psy Stalkers, dragons.
Hey, dragons! You can play them in D&D, but you need like a specific book. I forget the name of. The Diopsid will remember, but Adam does not.
Specific, dragon hatchlings.
Well, yeah, because dragons are really fucking powerful.
Um, they don't have society anymore.
Oh,
Why?
it's
Because
all.
they didn't
Oh,
need it.
apparently it's to differentiate rifts from all the other palladium. Okay,
Yeah,
okay, that makes a little more sense. Okay, it's not a dumb flex. It's just to make sure that like straight up, this is the stuff from rifts. Okay. No,
so
that's not
yeah,
me
now
dismissive. That actually makes a lot more sense. Like it's just to make sure straight up, yeah, this is my game. This is not a licensed game. You can bring licensed stuff, but be fucking wary. So essentially, it feels so. What it kind of comes off as yeah, you can't get me on what was it? You can't get me on copywriting because of that, because it discourages bringing in random fan characters from like other settings. Let's see, dragon hatchlings. What can they do?
Uh,
They get dragon instincts.
so specifics of a dragon is start have the power of metamorphosis
Shape
right out the
changing.
gate.
Which, by the way,
Um,
dragons also have in D&D. This is basically,
have
can I play a dragon from D&D? How do I do it?
have full understanding of magic, but they
Yep.
know no spells at first level.
Magic tends to be natively inclination for dragons, particularly stuff like blue ones.
They're also psychics.
There are psionic dragons.
Um,
I'm not. I'm like again. I'm just. This is the guy essentially going. How do I get dragons in D&D, and how can I make them playable? Get them from D&D, but different enough so I can't get sued.
you have your specific species of dragons and the age of the hatchling, in which
Age
you
actually
could
does
live,
matter in D&D as well.
you could actually be between 2 to 36. Well, no, 6 to 36 hours old.
Okay, yeah, noticeably more specific and with different abilities than how D&D does it. Again,
Uh,
I'm comparing based on others because that's kind of what I think is happening is the writer, he sees what others have done and like goes, "That's cool. How do I fit it into my own unique setting and also not get violently sued for copyright and also on top of it have it fit in?"
then you have your different species, which mix of
Oh,
Western
Palladium
and
made its
Eastern
own
dragon.
fantasy game. Like I said, I'm not really familiar with Palladium.
They have a shit ton of settings.
Yeah, and I just never really looked at them until, well, Rifts, really. West End games, sure, I'm familiar with them to a degree. Rifts, well, not Rifts, Palladium, nope, not familiar at all. Other than it's very, for some reason, whenever a Rifts game gets brought up, inevitably some asshole's going to bring a power armor wearing dude from Fallout into it. Don't know why, it just seems to be a thing that always seems to fucking happen. I think it's because it's partially because glitter boys are a thing, but it's also like, wow, could you stop? So what do hatchlings get besides their racial stuff? They get magic knowledge, as mentioned. Species dragons, age of hatchlings, attributes, horror factor,
It's a
which I think is a fear
fucking
effect.
dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fucking dragon. It's gonna scare the shit out of
Metamorphosis,
people.
teleport, cat eye gaze, which is transfixion, fire breath. And here's all the variety of hatchlings. I'm gonna be real with you. I'm probably just gonna skim through these.
There's only 4 in this, so.
It's fine.
Then they go off the list of psionic powers.
All right. These are all the abilities you get. Do
I
you
think we
think
could
we?
just,
Yeah, I think we can
yeah,
skip these.
run through just
Yep. Wait, what
um
was that long one? Ectoplasm. The solid state of ectoplasm. Okay, so this is something psionics can also do in the Book of Psionics in D&D. Now, I'm not pooping on it because honestly, with psionic powers, you have all of these other things you can do with it. It's just my brain instantly thinks to D&D because psionics are a thing, and he's calling them psionics now. Astral projection. Oh wait, no, there's a percentage chance with that. Let's look at it. Hopelessly lost, uncertain and confused. Definitely know the location. This is like if you get lost from your spirit walk. Machine ghost. Mask your psychic potent. What's ISP and how is it different from PPE? How is it
I
different
don't
from
know.
PPE?
Um I think ISP is, I'm assuming it's more like something within a person and
So what you're saying is the creator of this managed to remember to give a glossary for the techno wizard, but couldn't even be fucking bothered to do that with any of the other things before he started spamming them at you.
remember all the rules are in the pack.
Quality. I'm taking this book, but it's fine. Jesus, I'm starting to drop. Let's see what else we got.
I mean, because honestly, after this, it is just
Only
uh,
spells.
your spells, magic, different weapons, all that, and then character creation. Honestly, do you want to just skip to the character creation?
Uh, all right. Let's just quickly go through because this is a lot of crap. Let's be real.
This is just like your different guns, your different.
Oh wait, no.
Um,
There's the coalition states. We can go into how to use coalition characters. They can be played as good guys or bad guys. They've become villains people love to hate. Goose-stepping monsters in human skin who persecute DBs and people who choose to believe and live differently. The worst of the lots are the soldiers who use the power and military might. Power structure, blah, blah, blah. If it's leveled against DBs, even the worst atrocities are ignored. This attitude only breeds more injustice and atrocity. And yet, an important distinction must be made. Not all coalition soldiers are evil, corrupt, or murderous fiends. Uh, Here's my problem with that. You have them dressed in skulls and you just constantly talk about all the fucking murder they do. Alright, let's see how you try to devil's advocate it, creator. Many are misguided patriots and blah blah blah. Self-preservation, even the zealots don't ask. Okay. And many of Palladium's games are filled with clear-cut villains. I love. Oh, he's. This is where he's like appealing to the readers, like, look, this is why I did it. This is why I did it.
and they could just go the Warhammer route of it. Yeah, there can be good characters, but the organization itself is fucked up.
That's what he says, and then it turns from explaining, there are good people in the CS. It's just, it's either you or them, and they're gonna pick themselves every time. This is the only place for a long time the coalition does have a write up. Wow. Oh boy. I like how he just starts essentially defending his decisions in the book. That's some gigabrain quality. The contradiction has confused and frustrated some gamers who prefer a clear line between good and evil. I'm frequently asked, so is the coalition good or evil? And I get a frown or head scratching when I say yes. It's pretty clear they're evil as a whole.
I mean,
Like,
the idea is they're evil from the overall standpoint of they just kill everything on sight, but good in the sense of they have created a civilization and a place for humanity to thrive.
yeah, good in the sense of Kaiser's Legion and Fallout New Vegas. Like, yeah, it's a step up from Shitsville, but it's gone from Shitsville to Crapsville. It still ain't great.
Well, then they provide. I think yeah, the big thing is they provide security.
Yeah, for what, 2/3 of the population, and then gas the remaining third.
They can also look at it from this way. This is
Look at
their
it from
planet.
this way: Pol Pot only annihilated 1/4 of his population by the time he was done, or was it higher than that?
It was a third. It was a third.
So about what the CS wants to do. Wait, does that
There,
mean I can unironically say Pol Pot was good?
uh, th- within
Or
the
at the very
universe,
least, when asked about it, I could say yes, like Noam Chomsky.
eh, basically the whole thing is that coalition
Don't get me wrong. The coalition is a lawful evil, which means you have a society, a brutal one, but a society which is an improvement from having nothing. But by this logic, this also means that you're starting from damn near the bottom of the barrel. So odds are pretty good you're going to see him still as evil. Maybe in the setting of Rifts, they are not necessarily evil if you're actually role playing in the setting. But
that, but yeah, they're meant to be the Empire, the Imperium, the
what the fuck,
villains.
Adam? I'm not the creator of this work trying to justify a society that's destroying 1/4 of his fucking population.
I mean, the thing is
and
that it doesn't.
creating a slave army of slobbering, loyal to the death dog monsters. I don't
Yes,
actually give that. It's called a mental experiment.
so
It's a
considering that
terrible
their
soundbite. Yeah.
emperor is named Prozac, it's just. Yeah, I think you're right in saying they're Kaiser's Legion.
Yeah, and Kaiser's Legion wasn't really that goddamn great. I mean, compared to the tribal nonsense that they were beforehand, yeah, it's a step up, but it ain't much. Look, I disagree with the creator on this merely because by this logic that he's giving, you can justify, I think, every awful society that has existed, with the exception of arguably the Aztecs and this one Chinese warlord who, while he never did it specifically, ruled the province of China during the collapse of the Ming that went through, I think, an 80% population collapse. And because the death toll was that high, was erroneously given the belief he carved a series of stones which legitimately said that no one was worthy of entering heaven, and that humanity has nothing to answer for it. So the solution is only death sevenfold. I can count maybe on one hand societies worse than CS. I get what he's going for. Like, there are people in it who are just following orders and who are just basically, it's me or you, or hey, I'd rather, be able to shit in a box than not get eaten by bugs. Because, there's the bug monsters too. Anyway, let's see him try to justify this. Rifts in many of Palladium's games are filled with clear-cut villains. I love villains. I love how it goes in the first person. I'm good at making them. Kinda. And I do love the despicable evildoer that everyone knows is bad to the core and must be stopped at all costs. However, with the coalition states, I wanted something different. I wanted to show how the philosophy of might makes right is not good or just. I wanted to show how one man and those who implement his dreams of power can corrupt a nation. I wanted a human monster. Uh, yeah, I could see it. I could see the coalition states being a plausible entity that would form with with the right super science.
I mean, yeah, the whole reason that they hate the dimensional beings is because, well, there's no real difference in their mind between random innocent and fucking monsters.
I mean, a more logical thing is because didn't the rifts destroy essentially the golden age of humanity?
Yeah,
That would make a little more sense as the explanation. Like, it doesn't matter. You're partially to blame.
kind of. See, it's like this is our world. You're on this. I don't have the time to suss out if you're just randomly here, if you came here on purpose.
Or you're working with the
Well,
Cthulhu monsters to run an interdimensional slave trafficking ring. So fuck
so
it.
I'm gonna
Kill them,
I'm gonna
kill
shoot you
them all,
first.
and let God sort it out. Kill them all and let Emperor Prozac solve them out. So, limitless possibilities and cover every possibility. CS is one of those. An adversary that is not black and white, but every shade of gray. Much disagree. It's gray. Well, it ain't black, but you get what I mean. It's like a very dark gray. Like, I wouldn't know the exact color, but you know that type of gray that's like slate, or have you ever seen like a really dark igneous rock? Like, was it a
Yeah, yeah.
rhyolite? It's that color gray. It ain't obsidian black. It isn't the Cthulhu transhuman, no, is it transdimensional slave traffickers in the Caribbean and in Atlantis. They're not that. Let's be fair. Let us be fair. They are not that. But if you're already aiming to essentially destroy 1/4 of your population, and on top of that, enslave an entire and also have wrongthink. Remember, they have wrongthink education centers where they have ideologically pure studies and thoughts. Remember, they do. That's why they ban certain academic lines. Admittedly, some
Remember,
of
they
those are probably actually societally disruptive, but still.
remember they don't teach people how to read.
I mean, that's not necessarily evil. I'll agree with that. It's not great, but I can blame the Magic Nation too. Uh, oh yeah, that's the predecessor to Magical whatever that one random city in the Midwest that I literally forgot existed. Like it's the successor to that. Oh yeah, it's called Tolkien, right? The Magic Nation that was named after J.R. Tolkien when he was spinning in his grave. He spun so fast when Rings of Power came out, he created the rifts. That's what caused the rifts in this timeline. He basically spun so fast he tore open a hole in reality in his coffin. There are real patriots, coalition soldiers trying to live fast and do the right thing. Oh, let's see, any other weird ones? How you play the CS is up to you. Personally, I play each group of soldiers as distinct from one another. Some are evil, corrupt, rotten to the core. Uh-huh. Yes, Jim. He spun so fast that he ripped open a hole in space-time and let the Cthulhu out. And that's why King Arthur's a thing. The druid conspiracy to traumatize the good doctor's work to the point where even in the afterlife he spun so fucking. This is tired Adam at work. Tired Adam is very similar to if Adam smoked a bowl of weed. It's not a good thing when this happens for a reason. Uh, Actually, it's more like if Adam had knocked back a few brewskis. Honestly, let's be fair. You wouldn't want to see Adam on weed. What was I on about? Oh yeah, coalition military original characters regarding non-human invader. Yeah, kill them all. Typical soldier believes that aliens are dangerous and seductive. Uh, Only way is to follow X orders. Blah blah blah. Grunts known as
To the
dead
Imperium.
boys. I mean, I'll give the CS this. I actually like their style of dress, like their uniforms. They look like some pretty cool action figures. No, that's not me shitting on them. Like these genuinely look like something I'd probably play around with if I was a kid.
Thing is, they look like something out of Cobra,
I think that might have been the idea, especially since look, the old design very much is kind of inspired on Cobra Commander.
or what's the metal guy?
Destro.
Kind of looks like him a bit as well.
Yep. So grunts, they're known as dead boys because they often have a skull-like motif. They can only be humans or Psy Stalkers. Obviously, it makes sense. They hate DBs, so there's the Samas pilot. Here they are. They fly these mech suits. Here's some military specialists. And oh, you're just taking the piss out of me now. That's a fucking Qlexus assassin with goddamn pauldrons.
Which one?
The new style. The special
No,
forces new No, it has the one fucking eye, dude, and the skull thing, and it's
gotta be
widened
bigger
up.
though. It's gotta be bigger, and it's gotta be more of a regular skull, less pauldrons. Pauldrons are for the Space Marines.
No, no, the pauldrons are there to throw off being sued. Because remember, GW is litigious as hell. Sorry, that just kind of comes off as a case of oh fuck off,
Kind of.
a little bit.
Well, actually, hold on, because the Alexis, they're not psychers, they're anti-psychers.
That doesn't matter. I
Does.
I know what I saw, and what I'm seeing is a one-eyeballed skull motherfucker wearing latex weird fucking gimp armor. Now these I do. I mean, I don't actually like the new style as much as the original Special Forces armor. That one's a bit of a failure in comparison.
Yeah, the old one actually looks better.
Uh, the new style in this one also doesn't quite look as good. I will say the new style for the standard grunts look pretty good though.
Yeah.
I like that one more. Tolkien and the Federation of Magic 2. Oh, that's fine.
The Federation Magic is the one in Ohio.
I'm not gonna remember that. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to
Re-
be mean.
Oh, but just remember, it's the
So
there's
what?
the
So the
Wisconsin
Federation of
mages
Magic's
and
like
the
this
Ohio
evil.
mages.
Is this the Federation of Magic summoning their gimp slaves to do the horrible things, or is this the
No, those are the
That's the
Atlanteans.
Atlantean trade dealer guys? Yeah.
So notice the giant back that is just a skull and legs.
Yeah, I like that. It's a cool design.
That is so stupid.
No, it's a cool design. What are you talking about?
I know but it's just it's stupid good.
You wish you could come up with something that great.
Yes, I would, but I'd
Oh no,
also admit it's
straight
not.
straight up, I like the design. Oh, remember Ohio versus Illinois? They're the same basically. It's just one has the unfortunate nature of having Chicago. I'm joking. I'm joking. Technology versus the coalition. The technological levels of any place will vary greatly. Well, yeah, because Rift is supposed to be a bit of a grab bag, and also, the post-apocalypse really fucked things up.
So the
So
fact that the coalition is kind of stable is a bit of a bonus.
it takes it out of being pure pitch black evil instantly. Because here's the thing: you can give apologia to a variety of horrible regimes if they do one thing remotely competent. Like, Benito Mussolini dragged Italy into a war that destroyed it ultimately and did horrible things to the Libyans. But he made the trains run on time, he fought the mafia, and he also destroyed malaria in Italy. Not even kidding, Mussolini did a big effort in trying to wipe out malaria.
Oh,
Let's see, another example. I mean, Joseph Stalin literally industrialized the Soviet Union off the backs of every other SSR and a bunch of dead people. But,
the
it allowed him to
Nazis,
fight the Nazis. Ignore that it also helped that the US gave him a lot of fucking equipment.
Nazis, they gave us new technology.
I mean, they gave us Werner von Braun, who should have probably been thrown into a war prison. But he got us to the moon, damn it. He actually got to talk with Walt Disney at one point, and they did an entire special with him.
What?
So you didn't know that? Yeah, Disney like worked with a variety of Rocketeers, including von Braun. Disney working with the people who ran the Xinjiang re-education centers. That's not the first time they worked with people that actually, worked on camps like that. That goes to Werner von Braun.
I, tell me that's on YouTube.
Disney is magic. But no, it's because Disney was trying to capitalize on the space craze phase, which was in the 50s and 60s. And, Werner von Braun was a big advocate and actually kind of celebritized. Did you know that the US government actually kind of fucking hated von Braun and a lot of their Rocketeer scientists? Do you
They
want to know
weren't
why?
American.
Oh no, they were either German, specifically from that Germany, or they're German American. They literally said their rocket program was too German. I'm not even kidding. They were struggling to find someone who natively understood rocket technology that wasn't German to head the efforts, but
Just
they just couldn't fucking do it.
did Disney know at the time who this guy was?
Probably not. Let's be fair.
I mean, that softens the blow a bit.
Also, I think it's more for the mystic of going to the moon and not remembering what von Braun personally, because most people kind of forget that he used workers. He used workers to help build his rockets at Benemund. Those workers did it for free. Well, actually, no, they were paid with life to work on them. I don't know. I think Rifts just brings the wild ride intrinsically. But yeah, the setting is very technologically schizophrenic for good reason. Post-apocalypse, CS is trying to re-elevate everything back to a specific level, but they're kind of at war with weird, cultist fucks like these guys, and bandits and other things, and interdimensional monsters that just kind of 360 no scope teleport and cause horrible, horrible accidents. Oh, and dark magic too. I wouldn't know. Like I said, I'm not familiar with the setting. I just know like it makes perfect sense. Apparently there's a supercomputer known as Archie. Oh, apparently they're at the war with the machines, and Archie is like doing his crazy wild ride.
The thing is, they have no idea about.
Fair
Again,
enough.
Archie's the guy who created a all-female Amazonian warrior race that guards the Northeast.
Oh yeah, that's them, right?
No, the ones on the cup. No, those are Atlantean slaves.
Ah,
They're slave race from Atlantis.
okay. It's just there's more than one all-female slave race, so I got a bit confused.
No, because in Archie's case, they're all robots.
Well, in this case, they all have boobs, so I got confused. Oh, that was for the Disney is magic. Yeah, Disney is magic. The magic of watching things turn to dust. It's the anti-Midas touch. How did they like piss off Dionysus somehow? But anyway, Coalition technology. They're not a. They hate alien technology, and I think there's a bit of a Cold War just really quickly skimming through. Maruni Enterprises is on a hit list because they produce a lot of weapons that use alien tech, and also they usually supply these to DBs and other people. Titan Industry is under suspicion because, well, Archie's crazy. Wilkes Laser Technology. So they basically hate the technology to a degree, mainly because they can't control it.
Yeah,
Same with magic and
competition.
techno wizardry. And black market, obviously, they hate. Here's the Samos power armor, which looks pretty neat. Especially this image here. I like this.
Right.
I, I like the foldy wings. Big fuck off robot. Uh, Not the greatest Photoshop of putting dogs' heads on these soldiers' bodies, but I'm not gonna question it. That one's also not very good, but hey, whatever. It's fine.
You see the Death's Head transport?
Where's the death? Oh, there he is. I
It's a
love this
giant
thing.
skull ship.
I love it. Also, Skull Smasher. I like that. State of Ironheart. These weird little. I like this art a lot more than the weird whatever the fuck that is. Some more Coalition. Broadkill Warriors. Ah, these guys. I love these. The Vampires of Mexico.
Mexican vampires.
Yep, Mexico's run by vampires. the skeleton robots, and the Atlantean slaves. Dr. Wily is a fan of the Coalition. Yeah. I mean, I could totally see Dr. Wily working for them. Let's see. I think we'll wrap up what the Coalition has on hand, and then if we do a part three, we do a part three. Probably should at least look at the rules to be fair, so there is going to be a third part, I think.
Yeah, probably for the best.
Here's the big robot. It's an enforcer. It reminds me again of, I think it's called you mentioned, was it AV Warriors?
ABC Warriors.
ABC Warriors.
Yeah,
Still,
it does look looks like something out of 2000 AD.
again, I'm not, again, I just, when I think of the time period, you gotta remember the influences at that time. There's the Skull Spider, which is called the Skull Walker.
It's a spider skull walker.
Yep.
The walking eye.
Coalition Mark V personnel character, which looks like the armored the APC from Aliens.
It probably is supposed to be that.
I mean, it's different. It is different, and actually, I just realized the Death's Head transport kind of reminds me a bit of the Cheyenne dropship, just completely restyled. It has the same basic body shape, but then reconfigured to look creative.
It's a floating skull.
It's the Cheyenne dropship, but if you turned it into a Dr. Wily machine vehicle. Ah, yes, Mega Man, I've come to destroy you with this Death Head transport I got from another day. Oh, wow, he already died. What is this? Mega damage? It does that much damage? Ah!
The Skelelobots.
Where, I don't see those, but I do see this cool, I don't know how to describe this thing. The Sky Cycle? It's a bit like that thing from the, oh god, I'm forgetting the name of it. It's not a skiff. It reminds me of the speeders from Star Wars a bit.
The speeder bikes.
Yeah, it reminds me a bit of the speeder bikes, but in its own style.
Actually
Actually,
reminds me.
kind of reminds me of some of the stuff I've seen Akira Toriyama to draw.
Oh, the I think it was it Count Dooku's.
Yeah, I mean, it's not clearly it's not based on anything. It just kind of like
It
I I've seen something
generic.
like this before.
Also, by the way, you realize it technically has a skull on it.
Of course it
Got a
does.
skull on the front.
So the Skelelobots, these have been around a while. They're mainly designed to kill. These are the Terminators. Let's be fair. These are just Terminators. They're Terminators that are used as
Oh,
essentially
yeah.
death squads to go after DBs.
Though very much more skeleton instead of full body.
I mean, they don't have the mimic. They don't mimic the flesh. It's just they wander around murdering DBs.
And they literally are just skeletal.
Yeah, it's. I mean, the
Termin
Terminator. Dude, you've seen? Have you seen the model T800 without its skin?
yes, it still has the musculature shape.
A little bit. Only a little bit. It's still a skeleton shape, dude. It's just a lot thicker in design.
That's probably what I'm thinking.
Basically, if you took a Skelebot and gave it steroids, basically, widened the chest a bit and made it so its legs had thicker strut systems. Like, I'm not saying he's copying, it's just similar concept, skeleton death robot. However, I have to constantly grant the guy this. He's really good at filing the serial numbers off and making the style his own. Visually speaking, I should say. You get what I mean? Here they are destroying some demons. And here's some of their combat weapons. It's the pistol. Is that fucking Han Solo's pistol?
No, no, it's not Han Solo's. Han Solo
Okay.
is bigger. It's got like a little scope
Yeah,
on it.
it doesn't look like the Mauser. Yeah, not Mauser. It doesn't look like the German pistol it's based on. I'm sorry, I had a brain fart. Salt laser rifle. Assault rifle and grenade launcher, fire breather.
No, it's not assault. It's an assault laser and grenade launcher.
Ah. You know what I'll get? You know what I'll give this guy? Unlike Mike Pondsmith, you know what this guy can do? He can draw guns to not look completely ridiculous. Except this rocket launcher. This is fucking ridiculous. It looks
Oh wait,
backwards.
well, yeah. Unlike the other guns, it's facing the other way. If you look, the trigger is facing left.
Yeah, but the problem is it has kind of a Panzerfaust bulgy boy here.
Yeah.
It should be in the front. Like, what the fuck is that? It's the only one that looks kind of dumb. The other one, the other ones actually work pretty well. And they got vibro blades and swords and neural maces. What do neural maces do? It's stun. Okay, it's a stun weapon. Basically, it's a shock maul. It's not actually a shock maul. I'm just like straight up.
Yeah. And the various helmets.
I actually like. I actually kind of like that they show what the helmets mean.
So the spikes are the Psy Stalker. Officer has this weird frills in the back.
Xenomorph Queen, likely
Right.
inspired a bit by that one.
That or I don't know what besides that it'd be inspired by.
I do like that little. I do like that little extra bit of thought, even if it doesn't really look practical. If you get what I mean.
Well, it's supposed to be, like the whole officer's crest thing.
I get it. It feels a bit impractical because of how long it is in positioning.
Oh, yeah.
Like I
It
like
wouldn't
that. It's a nice little touch. People sometimes forget if you're going to do military, you have to do stuff like this, little nitty-gritty bits like that.
it wouldn't be any science fiction if there wasn't any impracticality to it.
Oh no, I'm aware. Like that's why I'm not questioning like this one that also has a frill and this one that has spikes. Like I'm not questioning those. More of the dead boy body armor with the initial sketch. There's the old style, which is older, and then there's the new style. And then there's the dog pack riot armor. And last but not least, here's a bunch of common gear, which includes cigarettes. And I think we can kind of just like there's nothing in particular here that's like super.
Vehicles, then
I
weapons.
mean, there's the computer CompuDrug dispenser, which is a computer hypodermic gun and chemical storage. But yeah, portable lab, and distancing, polarized, blah blah blah. There's a lot of like. Okay, I'll grant this. I love when people give you a bunch of kit to play with. When I have time when I make a character, I struggle with things like feats in D&D because it takes a while for me to figure it out unless I'm a caster. But I love kitting out my shit, you know? If I have the money, I do it. Hey, there's look at these beautiful vehicles. I like them. And here's some mega damage capacity armor, gladiator style, crusader style, urban warrior, plastic man.
Bushman.
I don't know how the huntsman is mega damage capable.
It's mega damage leather.
It's mega damage cloth. What the fuck?
But it lightweight padding, Kevlar, and plate composite armor.
Where's the plate?
No.
Where's the plate?
Um,
Maybe it's micro
under,
plates.
underneath all those straps,
Maybe
I
it's
guess.
like tiny micro plates that like are really thin. You know, like really thin and narrow and it's like really bendy and flexible. Hey, look, it's the Nintendo light gun. Aw, look at these. I love when he draws the guns because he actually does a pretty good job with them.
The
3d6 mega damage, so that's up to what is it? That's up to 1800 damage.
yeah, a 1/8. It's a hundred. No, you're right. Yeah, yeah.
A lot of stuff.
Power armor types.
Which range in a variety. And oh, also, all robot vehicles have the following. I like how they're all nuclear powered, although they should be. Ah, here we go. Here we finally made it. We finally made it to the game rules.
274 pages in, you finally get to know how to play this game.
That is so bad in terms of design. So, unfortunately, due to the fact that we had to cover a bunch of classes, and honestly, some of them were really elaborate and fiddly, which I critique mainly because of what comes off as you know how sometimes people get lost in the details or you overfocus on one to the detriment of others?
Yeah.
I felt that with some of the classes. Not so much the physical ones, those ones were mostly fine. It's most in the mages, which, hey, let's be fair, mages do need more than marshals. That wasn't what I was thinking of. But there were ones that were very much the love child or the loved one compared
Like
to the, you know.
the techno wizards.
Techno Wizards, honestly, if you told me that was originally a booklet that he just kind of inserted, I would have believed you. You know,
I just
like a
don't know
little
where
booklet that you can get.
I don't know where the origin of them came from, but I think the concept of
Well,
yeah,
you have funny words, Magic Man. Help me with my Wi-Fi.
and I believe in other books they kind of developed the concept a bit further.
But yeah, this is a book so big I have to do a part 3. Thankfully, we actually get to the rules. Maybe there's going to be a glossary at the very end so I finally know what a DB is and don't have to be told by people. I know it's a extra dimensional being. It's just it'd be nice if the book told me that specifically. Same reason why I didn't know what the hell a glitter boy was. You had to tell me it was a power trooper. Well, it's little quality of life things. Overall, since I haven't seen the game rules yet, I can't fully decide, but honestly, once you get past the grindy as shit opener, where you go through the entire setting as like one quick because he kind of goes through the entire continent in like a rapid pace kind of like manic energy. Once you get past that, the book's actually kind of interesting. I still wouldn't say it's one that is easy to get into initially because you have to figure out it's on page 270 fucking 4 to get to the rules, and you're gonna have to jump around a good amount because you got to figure out what your class options are. But you could just write that down, right? I'll be honest. I don't think this is quite my cuppa in some ways. It has the right energy. It's just as a let me just be frank. I'm not the biggest fan of Vampire the Requiem second edition. And the reason I'm not a big fan of it is it mangled the fluff. The crunch was fine, but it had me essentially go back to Vampire the Requiem first edition to read the fluff so that I can then do the crunch in second edition, which kind of made it a bit of a shit show, if you get what I mean. Books that force me to kind of dance around or try to figure that out kind of rank a bit lower for me. It's just not quite. It's just not quite at as high of a standard it should be, and that's fine. He can do whatever the hell he wants. It's his book. I mean, he insists on publishing it the exact same way, with just with more errata. And I think in the event that photos are necessarily uh, he reprints, I think, what is it, just to clarify things, or like not, or just to like keep the rights or whatever.
What do you mean?
Because his newest edition is basically the same as like the original in a lot of ways. Yeah,
Well, I get the reason why this one was made. I think it was just because it had been like 20 years or so.
I just know he didn't touch it at all. and there's a magic to it, but it does lead to some frustration just because a it's a bit archaic. Um, Tabletop gaming kind of has evolved a bit, but what's more important is it's just a bit structurally weird.
Yeah,
It's a
that
bit
definitely is.
structurally weird, and it's kind of a pain in the ass to navigate because of that. Don't get me wrong. Once you remember it's a percentile based system, and like once you know the basics, you can kind of roll along pretty quickly. Like I very much understand what the skills that you pick up mean. You just put up an extra 20% into your abilities, yeah.
Yeah, if they
Eh,
could have just started out with, hey, this is this game. Here's a little bit of a background. Here's how to play the game.
Well,
Here, you
all
would have
I'd
gone, here's
recommend,
more background, and then the characters.
what I'd probably have done is just after the initial explanation on the North American continent that they did, just put the game rules there. Just like after the first, collage of art photos, because it goes into characters after the first collage. Just put game rules there, go into that, and then after art collage, go into the character classes.
Oh yeah, that would have.
That's all you have to do. Like it's a very simple fix. It's not gonna happen, but it's just something I thought up.
The
I,
thing is, it feels like the way that it was put makes more sense for people who have already played the game.
which is unintuitive because he wrote it like that. My guess is maybe do you think he did it because he was like, I already have a fan base, so I don't give a shit in that kind of way, like because they already know.
Probably, probably.
That's a bit silly, personally speaking, but hey, he's the creator. He can do what he wants. And that's kind of his thing is he doesn't give a shit what other people think. Like I remember that. He gets like it's his way or the fucking highway. So, okay. Hey, I mean, that's fine. It's your personal project. And I will say this before I sign off. First of all, I think I mentioned it was probably going to be autistic analysis next week. That's still the most likely option. It's pretty likely either that or if the diopsids can't show up due to hive duties, it's going to be God's own country, which is New Zealand. New Zealand Geist the Sin Eater. So expect one of those two to show up. And also expect another video of this sometime in the future. Probably when I'm a little less tired because or maybe I should show up again tired or with my id unleashed because this is rifts. You're supposed to bring the worst out, right? What do you think, ImpCit? Should I bring out? Should I stay up 28 hours just so that when we start, I'm completely at my best for part three of Rifts?
Uh, Zeri's character creation, probably not. If it was,
If it was the first
if,
two parts,
yeah,
probably, yeah.
if we did something like just talking about the vampire setting, probably.
But yeah, like I said, we'll probably do. We'll either do more of complete arcane or God's own country. It really just depends on who's available next week. And feel free to, for those of you who are new, just like, subscribe, or whatever. You can like, subscribe, it's fine. We do have a Discord for those of you who are curious. Feel free to join in. We have a bit of a community, so just feel free to that. Have an excellent night, and
And
remember, the death
uh,
robots are always watching, and happy fucking Canada Day.
and upcoming Independence Day for the United States.
No, it's happy Canada Day. Fuck the U.S.
Nice.
I'm kidding. Happy early America birthday,
Uh,
y'all.